Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandro. I'm a grants officer at the Campaign for the Fair Sentence in the Youth. I want to welcome you all to our video conversation with Ashish Prashar.
Hi, Angel. Thanks for having me.
And if you can, Ashish, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so the reason that this issue is so important to me is I was incarcerated when I was 17. And, you know, like many people who are incarcerated as young offenders, that has such a pivotal moment of your life for lots of reasons. You're still growing up, right? And then to be taken away from your family and incarcerated is completely life-changing. It was the first time I really experienced conflict in my life. But, as a 17-year-old also, I, up to that point, I was quite privileged in my life. You know, I grew up in a middle-class family in London, and, you know, I screwed up and stole £20,000 worth of merchandise from a department store and was caught. After that, I was sent to Feltham Young Offenders Institute in London, which is arguably one of the most violent young offenders institutions in the UK, back across the pond. And I experienced everything. And I remember I was only sentenced to a year, and I only served 4 months in the end. But in that 4 months, I saw everything from racial abuse, guards setting, offenders on each other, goading us to react because they want you to stay there longer. So they know that if you react, you'd increase your time. But also, and this is tragic, I was in there for my first offense and theft. I was even put in solitary, and they said it was for my own protection for a couple of weeks. And solitary, as you know, is a place where some people really lose themselves. And, we see more suicides in solitary confinement. People actually self-harm in that environment. And that was apparently for my own protection as a 17-year-old. Since then, though, because of family, I was privileged enough that someone outside fought to get me out after 4 months. And because of that, I had a safety net to come home to. I came home and I had privilege, and my grandparents and my aunt took care of me, made sure I finished my exams, and set me up, giving me a safe space to grow still even after that. And because of them, I met a former Fleet Street editor. And Fleet Street, for people in the US, is what we call like all the newspapers back home in London. And that editor gifted me an opportunity at 19 to come work with me at a newspaper. And that changed my life. After that, I went on to working not just in newspapers, but went into a career in politics, where I worked for the likes of Boris Johnson, and I'm sorry for that one, Tony Blair, and more recently working for the Democrats and Joe Biden out here in the United States. And that was all because somebody gave me a shot, and I think that is something that I'm really excited to talk to you about, and talk about what people can do in this environment now. But I'd love to hear a bit more about your story as well, Angel.
Oh, that's awesome. Because there's some similarities in our stories, and just the fact that you spoke to, that somebody gave you a helping hand, that they gave you opportunity, and that somebody actually fought for you to get you out of that situation. That was the same thing that brought me to the CFSY. I served 21 and a half years in federal prison for a homicide that happened when I was 15 years old. I was sent to different institutions around the country. The CFSY reached out to me in, I want to say, 2009, 2010, and kind of, was that same beacon of hope. Like, they let me know that, there were people out here that were fighting, not just for me, but for children everywhere that are in the same situation. And I recently returned home. I've been home about 7 months now. And I was given the opportunity to actually work for this organization. And it's kind of a passion project for me, obviously, because of my situation. But also on a human level, I just think that it's just sad that, children will be put to the side and, kind of categorized as the worst thing that they've ever done without giving them the opportunity to see what kind of person they can become. And now I'm I'm actually fortunate that I was able to come home to a job, and it's just now, I think, to your point, is to get the word out that people that are coming home kind of need that support, especially now with what's going on with COVID-19. It's doubly worse, to be able to try to survive on, a minimum wage job, and to be able to just get the essentials that you need. So,
Yeah.
Just, your point again, just, to hear what businesses and corporations, what help they might be able to offer, would be good to hear. And I think our audience would definitely want to hear that.
I ask business leaders and other people all the time, when you're dealing with someone coming out of prison or a formerly incarcerated individual or someone who's just been sentenced to something and has a suspended sentence, talk to that person, hear their story. They're often left out before any of that, the traditional ladders of success, so you can build one for them. I think of all the company leaders I've spoken to in New York and beyond. And, if they run a company, they have no excuse. They can change how they hire people. They can choose to set up a fellowship program that trains people in the skills they possibly lack to a fellowship to job program. And if you don't run your company, if you have a senior position, lobby your HR, make them change their practices, create a groundswell in your company about things you care about. Because if we don't reset now, we're going to miss a massive opportunity that COVID-19 has presented us to change how we think about everyone and how we treat each other as human beings here.
I think just for people to hear what you've been through and what you've been able to accomplish, and like I love that idea. Some people might think it's a novel idea, but to be able to apply and actually get a job with a company and be on track to have a career instead of a job, and I think that's an awesome idea, and whatever I can do to get the word out about that, I'm there for you.
But no story is less important than the other. So, Angel, your story in of itself, every other story of any other person who comes out of incarceration and chooses to fight for their own life, to fight for opportunity, is an amazing story and should inspire other people to do that. But also, we need our community to support us, and that that is businesses, that's people who have privilege. They should support programs to help young people, in the community, whether they're in prison or not. They need. You can help people make great choices, if you just give time to those individuals and the programs that support them, that your organization is running. And, it's not too much of a lift. We're talking about people who are young and made an error, and we shouldn't be condemning them for the rest of their life. And look, it's been hard. Like I work with in the community in Harlem and in New York, and, seeing and hearing some of the stories of some of the people I mentor, and some of the individuals that the organizations I work with support, they're dealing with, just even get out of prison, is horrific. But the one good thing that can come out of that is people are starting to talk about it, right? And they know that they're beginning to see how horrific this is. We're seeing people being released, and what's scary for people who are vested in the prison system and in incarceration is we're beginning to realize that, did we need it for all these things in the first place? And that's why we have so much pushback and reform.
Is there anything else that you would like to say to other businesses about this issue?
Firstly, I would like individuals, look, I know this is a tough time, and COVID-19 is, impacting all of us, and it's going to have a massive impact on the economy and jobs. But whatever you can do to give to organizations like the one that Angel works at, and support them, not just through cash donations, but also through other support. People need mentors, they need technology, they need all this other stuff, training. Please try and do that as well. But I've got to go back to business. You know, like I know the economy's tough, but you will be employing again soon. So this is the chance you have, as I mentioned earlier on, to change how you hire. Like, do not judge someone for a momentary mistake or something that happened one moment at a time, one moment in their life. Don't use that record as a reason not to employ, because those people have been through real stuff and will really add value to your business.
Thank you, Ash, for your words and for your time. I really appreciate it. And you know, on behalf of the CFSY and the audience, you know,
thank you for having me. It was a real pleasure, Angel. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. If you would like to help by donating your resources during this critical time, please visit our website or email us, and stay safe.